Hi there and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel will be all about property, buy-to-let properties, my own portfolio, and deep dive into real figures and real returns. I wanted to create this channel because there are so many YouTubers out there who fake property returns, or YouTubers who just want to sell courses, and I'm not going to be one of those people. I want to be as authentic as possible. So in today's video, I'm going to be deep diving into my own property, and I want to go through realistic results. I want to tell you what went right, what went wrong, the realistic figures, and whether it's worth it, and whether you, as the viewer, should also start investing or not. I'm going to talk to you about the reality that people just do not expect in property. So currently my property, which is in Middlewich in Cheshire, that generates me £960 per calendar month. So I've got the mortgage to pay for, which is currently £590 per calendar month. I've got the estate agent fees to pay for, which is 8% of my rent every single month. Whenever the property needs repairs, I have to go out and repair. And then you've also got the tax implications on it. I'm gonna deep dive into all the numbers, honestly, for you. So let's go back to 2022 and I'll tell you exactly why I bought this specific property in Middlewich. I bought it on the 18th of May 2022 and I paid £160,000 for this property. At the time, I knew nothing about property investing. There was no YouTube that I was watching, there was no courses I followed. I just went into this blindly because I thought property would be a good investment for the future. The areas I was looking in mainly Cheshire because I live in Cheshire myself. So I was looking at places like Middlewich, Crewe, Sandbach, Congleton, Macclesfield, because I knew that these were slightly cheaper areas in Cheshire. But still, Cheshire is a very desirable area in the UK. But in these specific towns, you can get a bit more for your money, like properties a bit more affordable, rather than places like Wilmslow, Alderley Edge or Knutsford. So my criteria was to get a minimum of a 3-bedroom house. It had to be semi-detached and it had to have a driveway. The reason that I wanted this criteria was because I was looking for a home that I'd be happy to live in myself. I wasn't thinking like an investor. I was thinking like, let's look for a property that I'd love to live in myself because then it would be easy to rent out. So this was probably a bit of a mistake because I didn't go through the numbers properly. I just thought, this is £160,000, it can generate this much rent. That sounds good to me. Whereas looking back now, I should have possibly gone back and done the numbers, but I didn't understand anything whatsoever. Okay, so let me talk to you about how I came to the conclusion about this property and how I found it. So I found this property on Rightmove. I had been looking at properties for maybe 4 to 6 months, but it was straight after the COVID-19 pandemic and it was straight after lockdown, and the houses were literally selling like hotcakes. A property would go on the market and then within 6 hours it would have 10 viewings and it might have already sold before you'd even get the chance to view it. So it was absolutely crazy, and I realised that the only way that I was going to find a good investment property was to message these estate agents myself and build a relationship and trust for them. And that worked in my favour. So I was talking to this estate agent and they sent me an email, and the email said, I've got a property that you might be interested in. It's not currently on Rightmove yet, but it will be. Would you like to view it before it goes onto Rightmove? And I replied back within the hour saying, yes, I would like to view it. And I viewed it on that same day. I started looking around the property and I was like, this would be perfect. Just renovate it a small amount and it would be ideal. So I made an offer there and then with the owner of the property and the offer got accepted. The reason for the sale was because the owner was going through a divorce and they needed to sell the property, I'm guessing to split it half and half. And because of this, the property took 9 months to go through. So I finally got the keys on the 18th of May 2022. So yes, the property did need a little bit of renovation, which is to be expected when you buy a new property. It's not going to be perfect when you get the keys. So I redid the carpets and all the floor, all the vinyl downstairs, bathroom, everything. And that cost me £3,000. I got a painter to paint all the walls, in white and fill in any holes, and that cost me £2,000. I paid about £5,000 in other repairs, such as the staircase. The plumber needed to come round and fix some leaks. I added white goods into the property because I thought it would help any new potential tenants. Lighting in the property, so I had to fix the outdoor lights and then change all the light bulbs. I got professional cleaners in straight after all the works were done, which I guess I could have saved money and done it myself, but I am also working a full-time job at the moment, so I didn't have time to do that. Now we're going to talk about finding a tenant. So I listed the property on Rightmove with the estate agent that I used to buy it, and I listed it on the 1st of July 2022. On the 1st of September, a tenant moved in. So it took 2 months to find somebody, do all the vetting and all the checks on them, and then give them the keys. Important notes are you are still paying for the mortgage on this property every single month, but you're not getting an income. So you have to factor in that maybe from the time that you get the keys, which for me it was May, you might not get an income until 3, 4, 5 months. It depends how long it takes to find a tenant. So you've got no rent coming in and the property is not producing any income whatsoever. So now I'm going to talk to you about my mortgage details. I had a £40,000 deposit, which means my mortgage would be £120,000. My interest rate was 2.3% back then, which when you look back now, that is crazy because they are so much higher. I was on a 35-year repayment mortgage. The reason I chose repayment was because I like the idea of a tenant repaying my mortgage back so that I own the full property when I pay off the mortgage in 35 years. I understand that most investors do an interest-only mortgage, but personally, I like the idea of owning the entire property, not just 25% of the property when you come to sell it. In 2024, my mortgage increased, and it increased to 5.39%, which felt like it was almost double. Like, it was crazy, the interest I was now having to pay for it. So it went from £390 per calendar month to £590 per calendar month. So that wiped £200 instantly off my profits every single month. So I've just remortgaged again. Now that is 2026. This will go through in May, and the rate that I've got currently is 3.98%, which means my mortgage has gone up again to £633. The reason it's gone up is because I've taken the equity out of the property and I've left 25% equity in the property still. So I've got enough money to buy another buy-to-let property, but I'll explain all this in another video. So to go through more figures with you, I'm going to talk to you about rent and the property management. The rent was originally £875 per calendar month, but in 2024, I had no choice but to increase it to £960 per calendar month due to this interest rates with the mortgage. And then the management fees are 8% plus VAT. So that's now £92.16 per calendar month. The rent after management fees is £868 per calendar month. Now I want to do a full cost breakdown for you, just so that you understand the figures properly. So my yearly rent is £11,520. My yearly costs approximately are £7,600 for the mortgage. The management fee is £1,100. My yearly insurance is £200. My gas safety certificate, which you have to have every 12 months, is £150. I bought a leasehold property and the leasehold charges are £200 per year. And I get an accountant to do all of my self-assessment returns because I have no idea what I'm doing. That is £250 per year. So the total costs per year are £9,500 approximately. And then you've got tax on top of that, which you have to pay. After tax, my monthly profit, if you break it down into months, is approximately £120. That's the real reality of owning a buy-to-let in the UK. So yeah, we need to talk about the tax reality. You can't deduct the full mortgage as tax anymore. you can only deduct the interest portion. That's the only bit that gets tax relief. So tax is a lot higher than people expect. So how do people actually make money in property? Because you don't make much money on a monthly basis or a yearly basis. So why are there so many people in property? And you've got to think it's because they say every 10 years, property prices double. They don't always double. Sometimes they go more, sometimes they go less. But on average, since the 1800s, property prices have doubled in price. So this is a reason why a lot of people get into property. An example with my specific property, I bought my property for £160,000. And it is now worth, it got valued this year by the mortgage, the brokers, and it got valued at £190,000. So in 4 years, I've made £30,000 from just owning the property. So this is where the real wealth comes into play. Because let's say I owned it for another 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it might be worth £250,000 or £300,000. Or it could just double in price completely and be worth £400,000. And now I want to talk to you about the biggest mistakes about buying this specific property, because it was my first buy-to-let property. You're always going to make mistakes. The first mistake I made was buying it with my emotions first. It had to have all these attributes. It had to have a driveway, it had to be semi-detached, it had to be 3 bedrooms. And from an investment point of view, that's not what you should be looking for. You shouldn't be looking for a home that you personally want to move into. You should be looking at a home where the numbers stack up, the numbers work, and it gives you a good rental return and a good yield every single month and every single year. But I didn't look at this whatsoever. So that was my first mistake. My second mistake was buying a leasehold property. So when I was originally looking at property, I was looking at freehold only. The property that I bought, I thought was freehold. And then we got through to the solicitors, the house sale started going through, and the solicitors told me that it was a leasehold property. And at that point, I'd been searching for a property for so long that I just went ahead with it anyway, because I was like, you know what, screw it, I'll buy a leasehold, I'll pay the fees, I just want to get onto the property ladder. And this mistake has now cost me £200 a year, which isn't the end of the world, but then again, I don't make a lot of profit from it, so it is still eating into that profit margin. So now I'm going to talk to you about my future plan in property. Currently, I am remortgaging this property in Middlewich. I am taking out the equity, which is about £30,000, and then I'll have that £30,000 in cash plus another bit of savings to then pump into another property so that I can keep building my portfolio. And the plan is to do this with every single property I buy so that I can keep recycling the cash and then keep buying more. My lifetime goal at the moment is to own 20 properties, and this is why I've started this YouTube channel, because I want to document it. I want to show you guys real results and real figures. I'm not going to sell you any courses. I just want to give any advice for free, because I'm in this just as much as you guys are. And if anybody is thinking about buying a buy-to-let property, I'm hoping that you would come to this channel and I'll be able to help you at least a small amount. I plan to make weekly videos for you guys, and I want to show you real numbers. I want to show you my real journey, and I want to show the good and the bad about property. So if you want to follow along with my journey, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.